Good morning, and welcome back to Daily Dhamma, a letter to our children. Today is June 11th, and our reading is Two Dogs. We adjust our angle of approach by taking action. Each of us has two dogs inside. We've got a big friendly puppy with a cold wet nose who's always happy to see us, and he brings us a ball and, ooh, who's the good boy, who's the good boy? And he loves us no matter what we've been up to, and he makes us feel like $1,000,000. We also have, out in the backyard, chained to a big steel pillar, a snarling junkyard dog who's growling and snapping and tearing the flesh off of anybody crazy enough to go back there. And whichever dog we feed, that's the one we get. But make no mistake, it's our choice. If we find ourselves miserable and fighting with people every day, we're feeding the wrong dog. Now, that's handy because at least we know who to talk to about cutting off his oats. This is just going to be pretty much a common theme throughout this whole deal. We see what we get depends on what we look for, what we see. And if we're back there with that, tearing the flesh off of everybody, well, if that's the dog that we choose to feed, that's the dog we're going to get. And the more we feed it, the more we get that. And is that blaming the victim? But bad things have happened. Yeah, bad things have happened. What's your point? The world is full of sad stories, and everybody you bump into has got one or two of their own. And it's not that they don't mean something, it's that the way that we look at life depends on the way that we choose to look at life. We're as happy as we want to be. Our attitude is entirely up to us, and we are not the boss. That's what the Dhamma teaches us. Our right actions mean that we do the next right thing instead of living in the past or which we can't change, or living in the future, which we cannot see. We're awful grateful to our ancestors who at least were bright enough to make sure that our shining souls wound up here too. And instead of taking a dim view of the future, we're going to look at the bright side of life and see what it's got in store for us. But we're not going to live in the past or the future because all that does is cut us off from living in the now. Our moods and our behavior will fluctuate. We all go up and down over time, and nobody is steady Eddie every day. That's true. However, there are general dispositions. And if I am generally at daggers drawn with the people around me, if I am the man of towering and unquenchable rage, and I've just got to look at these things that you have done, and it's all your fault, and everything would have been perfect if it hadn't been for those duck-billed schmoes, or those needle-nosed schmoes, or the sneetches with stars, for crying out loud. Look at what they've done. They've made a mess of this. This says a lot more about me than it does about any of the people that I'm throwing rocks at. The person who is always angry is always angry. So the common element in my dysfunctional life and my dysfunctional relationships turns out to be me. Now, the good news is I can change that. So happy trails to you until we meet again.